So here, what we are going to discuss tonight would be, yes, introduction to IELTS. First, let
Yeah,
me ask you, what is the meaning of IELTS? What does it mean?
I is an abbreviation of International English Language Test Getting System, right?
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
don't know.
Okay, good job. All
Yeah.
right, so here, Tom, you're correct. That is International English Language Testing System. All right, so good job. So let's try to discuss further. Okay, what is IELTS? All right, like for example, who takes the IELTS test? All right, so
Mm.
here, before you read this one, do you have any idea who are those people who actually take the IELTS exam? Do you know?
Sorry.
Mhm. Do you know who takes the IELTS test? Who are these people?
Mm. I saw some answer here. Do you want me to read it?
Oh, well, actually, before you read this one, do you have your own idea?
Mm, just general knowledge, like
Mm-hmm.
I think some people who want to go to approach
Mm-hmm.
you want to like how can I say, they want to go abroad for
Mm-hmm.
education or for immigration.
Uh-huh.
They need an certificates of English which were certified by an famous or reputation organization like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't know the details. Like
Mm-hmm.
TOEFL
Okay.
or TOEIC or IELTS, what is the difference?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, no
Actually,
problem.
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Nothing to worry about. That's the reason why we will be discussing that tonight. Okay?
Yeah.
So we will have, or you will have, a better understanding. All right? So here, yes, it's a good thing you do have an idea. All right. So here, if you can see, kindly read the first one for me, please.
Hmm. Students planning to study in a school or higher education institution.
Yes, that's right. So
Okay.
yes, and also like what you have mentioned, those students who are actually or who would like to be a part of a reputable. Okay, that would be the perfect word to use or appropriate word to use, reputable institution or famous schools or institutions. All right. So let me type the word for you. Reputable. Okay. And also, well, here you can see. Kindly read the second one, please.
See,
People.
people taking English language learning programs, admission and exist
Mm-hmm. Okay.
ngôn ngữ tiếng Anh,
And next.
scholarship and certification candidates,
Mm-hmm. Next.
English language learners who want to check their progress,
Mm-hmm.
uh, students and workers applying for visas.
All right. So here, basically, like the things that you have mentioned, those people who would just like to test their English ability, those who would like to migrate, those who would like to study further abroad. Well, those people who would like
Mm.
to migrate, whether for like for example, for education, for work, all right, or for living. Okay.
Mm.
So of course, that's the reason why I asked you earlier, what
Mm.
is your purpose? Why would you like to take the IELTS exam? Okay. So here, you mentioned that you actually consider going to Canada or to Australia. Oh, to New Zealand. You mentioned, yeah.
So sorry, teacher. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know the meaning program admission and exit.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So for this one, people taking English language learning program admissions and exits. So for this one, those people who are taking up some special trainings or higher education. Okay. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Or higher form of learning. Okay. Those who would like to study further for higher education.
What's number two? The this sentence. People taking English language learning program
Mm-hmm.
admissions and exist. This
Mm-hmm.
is deep. What is this sentence different with number one?
Okay. Well, for this one, well, there are certain, like for examples, form of education. Not just like for the first one. Look, we mentioned higher education. Okay, like a master's or postgraduate degree. Like for this one, people taking English language learning program admissions and exits. So these are special or specialized types of learning program for certain people. Okay, for those people who are actually already learning actually the English language.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is basically a different form of learning, or there are specialized subjects that they would like to take. All right.
So let me when we say check the meaning.
Mm-hmm. Like for example. Mm-hmm.
Admission chức xã hội trường học. Oh,
We're good with that.
yeah.
Any other questions for this?
So as I said to you, I just intend to move to Canada or New Zealand or
Mm-hmm.
other countries. Just seeking for the better living environments
Mm-hmm.
for my children, not for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Basically, to migrate. So, do you plan as well for your children to study further abroad? Well, in Canada, do you actually plan for your children to study abroad as well?
Now, if I can't move to Canada or New Zealand or other
Mm-hmm.
country, I have my plan for them to
Mm-hmm.
go abroad for education.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when they reach, uh, they will be 15 or 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They can manage by themselves. I will send them to abroad for education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I see. Well, what can be more important than our children's future, right? So it's really one of our biggest challenge. Some things that we really have to plan, closely, or I mean, we need to really consider, right? So yes, and no other questions for this one. So are we clear with the first part? Who takes the IELTS test?
um, let me share with you. If,
Mm-hmm.
if I cannot move to Canada, um, uh, at least after joining the course with you, my English skill will be improved.
Mm-hmm.
honestly, up to now, I just learn English by myself. Just listen to the tabs, imitate.
Wow.
Uh, I so my pronunciation sometimes is not correct.
Well, it's not too bad after all. You
Not
know,
too
it
bad.
seems that not too bad. It seems that your hard work is paying off because, well, I can understand what you're saying, but don't
Mm,
worry, we will enhance that. Okay, we will develop that further.
mm.
Okay.
Well, when we I was in secondary school, we
Mm-hmm.
we learn English, but not learn speaking or listening. Just
Mm-hmm.
writing, learn about grammar and
Mm-hmm.
vocabularies like that.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us pronounce wrong.
Oh, most of the pronunciation were wrong.
Yeah, we
Mm, okay.
we I found that, but I I have age too old, and sometimes it's in my habit, like my habits. It's
Mm-hmm.
difficult to correct it
To
again.
correct.
Mm.
Oh, okay, I see. I understand that. So for this, because I truly understand that for every nation, like for every country, especially, oh, for example, take for instance, in Asian countries, well,
Yeah,
learning English, um, or the system of learning English are different. Okay, as compared to that of, for example, in the UK or in the US. Okay, so for this, like also there are certain countries, like for example in Asia, that really do not require for people to become fluent. All
yeah,
right, but there are also some certain countries wherein whenever you are fluent in speaking in English, there will be greater job opportunities for you. Okay? And I understand that. But aside from that, come to think about it, it is actually essential to learn the English language because it is a global
yeah,
language.
yeah, yeah.
So when we say global language, like for example, you go for a business trip or you just travel, it will be very helpful that you can at least communicate basic English with the local people, right? So here, but don't worry. I know our target here is to for you to be able to um, develop and improve further your communication skills so
Yeah.
that you can get your target score in IELTS. Okay, so here, don't worry. I'll do the best that I can to
I
help
hope
you
so.
improve. Okay, I can assure you that. Okay. So yes, moving forward, you mentioned about organizations earlier,
Yeah.
if I can remember. So, which organizations accept IELTS scores?
Wow.
Uh-huh.
9,000.
Uh-huh.
Over 9,000 organizations worldwide, including university and institutions,
Uh-huh.
immigration departments, and government agencies,
Uh-huh.
multinational companies, and professional bodies.
Okay. All right. I see. So here, but let me also ask you, Trong. So let's say for the reason why you would consider going abroad, like in Canada or in New Zealand, is for your daughter's future, right?
Yeah.
But also, you mentioned that there would be, or do you think there are, better job opportunities abroad?
Sorry, I don't hear you clearly. Two,
Oh, how
two,
about
last,
now?
two last sentences. You
Mm, okay.
you said that I moved to Canada or New Zealand for my children
Mm-hmm.
to seek for a better teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
another point is
or the other one, my other question was, or you think that there will be, better job opportunities?
Better job opportunity.
Hmm.
Mm,
Like, for
I
example, higher salaries, or do you think there would be greater chances that you will be promoted?
yeah. I used to think about that. Used to,
Hmm.
used to think about us. We compare our salary in Vietnam and with other country in Asia, like the Philippines
Hmm.
or Thailand, Malaysia, or
Hmm.
no, not compare with Singapore. uh, mm, so I think in developed country like Canada or
Hmm.
New Zealand, the
Hmm.
salary will be higher, but I think the like the human rights will be better in Vietnam. That is the point I concern. Human
Oh,
rights.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
So, well, I could also say that it will be a very huge adjustment, right?
yeah.
I mean, totally, well, basically with everything. First thing that we could also consider would be culture. Because, of course, in Vietnam, it is, well, it has, or you have different upbringing. And especially with that of, for example, Canada, you will be exposed to, should I say, new or bigger horizon, which you
Mm,
might find totally different.
mm,
But it's good that you actually, you are ready and you're willing to take risk just for to have a better future, of course, right?
yeah.
Okay. So here, let's try to learn more on um, the types of the IELTS exam. So you mentioned, well, of course, you're not taking the academic. We are
Yeah.
now focusing on the general
Oh.
training. So for this one, but do you know what are the difference between the two?
Actually, I don't find what's different. So yeah,
Mm,
but but uh,
okay.
but some of my friends say that if I follow IELTS academics, it will be more
Mhm.
difficult than the IELTS general training.
Okay. So here, well, basically, when we say IELTS A, or when we say A, that's the academic. All right. So IELTS academic is for test takers who would like to study further, okay, abroad. Those
Yeah.
undergraduate, postgraduate levels, those. While on the other hand, general training is for test takers who would like to migrate, okay, just like you. All right. So here, well, basically, when you said that for